Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to the Morning Wood. I'm glad you guys could catch the show. Sorry we're a few minutes late. I had to take a shit. No. Yeah. Anyways, a couple of little announcements, and then we'll start talking to our guests today. Tomorrow there will not be a show. I have a doctor's thing I got to do, so I got to go get off. The AIDS is caught back up with me right around the ear area. So I got to go check that out. And so there won't be a show, but there will be a show Friday.
So wait. Do you have hearing aids?
No, dude, it was a joke.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, actually, I do have hearing aids.
You have the hearing aids.
I do have the hearing aids. No, I got to get my meds and shit back going, but that's okay. We're gonna do that, and then next week we're working on guests already. I do know. The second, we got Captain Kirish coming back on. Everybody loves her. And we got some other people working on it. So I'll announce that at a later point in time. As always, at the end of the show, you can ask questions and we'll answer them if we want to. If we don't, we'll just not answer them. And you can tip and stuff at the end of the show as well. I'll read your messages aloud if you tip. And let's set a stream go at $40 today, at least. Yeah, 40. That's a small go. Anyways, we're also going to end early today too because I'm not feeling too well, so we're going to end about 30 minutes early. So yeah, that's it. We are joined today by Mr. Vadim. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, everyone. I'm well. I'm caffeinating as we speak, so I should get more and more. My brain will awaken as we continue. I woke up not too long ago, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, hey, thanks for joining us, people. Hope you guys are fucking awesome.
We're out here too.
Good evening. And yes, I too am saturating my synaptic pathways in caffeine because fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. So it is. What is today? Wednesday. And it's the number one hashtag on Twitter is Wednesday Wisdom. Do you have any Wednesday wisdom, Vadim?
I'm all out of Wednesday wisdom. I just no. I don't know if I ever had any, to tell you the truth. Don't leave a jar of mayonnaise out in the sun for 15 days and then use it as a flashlight.
That shit be stanky.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Can I have a go at this? I've got one for you.
Yeah, you can go.
I stole this one from decades ago. Man who walked through airport door sideways is going to Bangkok.
True.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
Comedy.
So anyways, what we've been doing lately, if you've been watching the show, anybody out there, we've kind of been, with the guest interview kind of style, just talking and then letting the conversation go where it goes. So one thing I was going to ask, Red, I asked before the show, and you got into it pretty deep, is Red, I'll just let you repeat your question and he can repeat the answer.
Yes. Well, I saw a rather interesting video on someone's channel, and it was Alex Jones's wife was being interviewed, and I sort of just had several questions, and the biggest one was, how in the fuck does one pull off an interview and line up an interview with the wife of Alex Jones? Because it's Alex Jones's wife. It's like, and it was a great interview.
First of all, I want to say about Alex Jones's wife that she's like an exceptionally wonderful person. I did not know what to expect when I contacted her. I had all these preconceived notions, because she was married to Alex Jones, and you'd think that somebody would have to be one, either insanely crazy, two, an idiot, or three, probably both, to
money hungry,
marry the man. But she's none of those things. I mean, she's a little quirky, of course,
Yeah.
but I basically saw her when she had less than 2,000 subscribers or followers on Twitter. And she tweeted a lot about Alex Jones, and she was like, I'm Alex Jones' wife, and I'm trying to get the word out on what an asshole he is. She didn't use those words, but at first I thought this might just be like a crazy woman who's trying to get attention.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, like, is this really Alex Jones's ex-wife? Because if it is, that would be really interesting to see if I could book her as a guest on Creationist Cat Chat. And so I wrote to her, and I looked her up. She didn't have her full name on the account at the time, but she told me her name, and I looked it up, and I saw the picture that she had as her avatar. And I did a little digging, and I realized, yep, this is the real deal here. This is actually her. And before we actually did the interview, I spoke with her on the phone for about an hour, and we got along really well. And she's actually a surprisingly intelligent woman, she's I recommend, I mean, like, if you found that interview interesting, the Creationist Cat interview, which I'm really happy we did. I mean, like, I for one, like, I fucking hate Alex Jones, and sort of like helping someone who is tied with him kind of just sort of expose him for who he is, what he is, was like very gratifying. Although I should say that I didn't do that personally. That was more CC than myself. Yeah, I basically like really enjoyed meeting her. We bonded a little bit. I felt like, you know, kind of like she was very motherly, and what else can I say other than, oh yeah, I got her in touch with David Pakman. David Pakman did an interview with her, and that's much more on the serious side. She even though that she has like a lot of very like wild tidbits to kind of share about Alex Jones, she also has, you know, her story involving Alex Jones is kind of like a pretty like there was both mental abuse and just all kinds of shit that went on inside their marriage. And so, like, you know, she actually has a somewhat sad story to tell. But I think she also, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I think maybe I've talked this one into the ground, but
well, I do have a question about it though.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say real quickly that well, two things I wanted to say is, one, another way that she kind of defies expectations is that she doesn't believe any of that crazy, you know, conspiracy bullshit, especially the stuff, anything having to do with kids, like, you know, like the Sandy Hook conspiracies and stuff like that. Like, she explained to us how when she started seeing Alex talking about things of that nature, it blew her mind and she couldn't believe it. But aside from that, she's just a very like caring, like good kind of like, I don't know, like Southern woman, and she's a little different than me, you know. I mean, like she's evangelical and whatnot, but not in a way that is like it's not in your. She doesn't try to cram it down your throat.
Did you learn anything about? Oh, I'm getting some feedback from you.
You are?
Yeah, I'm hearing myself.
All right, I'll try. And unfortunately, my headphone jack on my computer is just like, it's fucked. So I can. Hello, is this any better?
Let me see. Nah, I can hear myself. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I don't know what to do about it. This has never happened before. I always use this setup, and
well, Red, it isn't you, I don't think. Well, now I can hear myself.
Hello, is that any better? Like, I turned down the volume a little bit on the microphone.
Yeah, that's
better. Okay, cool.
Okay, So did you learn anything about Alex that you didn't know?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of confirmed suspicions that you know, she basically she said that, yeah, because the one thing that I think everyone wants to know about Alex Jones is like, you know, is he for real? Does he really believe this crazy bullshit? And her answer was that he definitely believes the majority of the things that he says, but there's like an air of theatricality to it. So, you know, he believes some of these things, yet at the same time, he will hyperbolize things on purpose just to sensationalize them, because he's a showman, because he knows that that will get people more interested. And then there's an element to him like that, you know, I mean there's an element to him that she genuinely feels sorry for the guy. Like, she sees him as someone who needs psychological help. You know, she said that he would, you know, a lot of the crazy rants that he goes on air, like he'll do that in real life. He'll do that with like the kids and stuff like that, but he'll do it like even more maniacally sometimes in real life than he does on.
You didn't clean your room.
So, what?
That's Alex Jones going off on his kids. You didn't clean your room.
I think that's more. Is that like Alex Jones channeling Jordan Peterson there?
I don't know.
You did clean your room, bucko.
Yeah. It was a real, like, if somebody had told me a few months ago, or you know, like certainly last year, that I was going to sort of be friends with Alex Jones's ex-wife, I would just say, get the fuck out of here. No, I do not think that that's ever going to happen. And yeah, it was just a real interesting coincidence, and luckily I could get her. You know, I have like I don't know, like I know David Pakman, and I know a few other people who write for Rolling Stone, so I was able to get her an article in there, and an interview with David Pakman, who his interview like has gotten close to I think at least 500,000 views, if not close to a million at this point. So I was glad that I could help her get that exposure and get her story out, because she definitely, like, I think more people should know kind of what she experienced. You know, I'd say just watch both the Creationist Cat interview people, for those of you who haven't seen it, because it's one of my favorite things on the channel. And watch the interview with David Pakman, because that's obviously a little more probing and serious, and you know, and you'll get a very full-rounded view of what this woman is like.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, one thing I was going to ask about you personally is I don't think I've ever talked to you about this. Did before the Creationist Cat video started, did you ever do any YouTube thing or anything like that before? Or
well, I've done a lot of comedy related stuff. I used to, when I lived in New York, I used to perform at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's basically like the Second City. Again, maybe that's something you're not familiar with. Second City is like the classic improv Chicago.
Yeah, I know about it.
Spot that like Bill Murray and like Chevy Chase and like 90% of the like golden age Saturday Night Live members, like the Belushi, you know, people like
that. The National Lampoon guys got together through that.
Yeah, exactly. So in the early 90s, I believe. No, maybe like mid 90s. They started that is the Upright Citizens Brigade, which is probably the most famous member is Amy Poehler. You know who that is, right? Everybody knows who Amy Poehler is.
She's
Parks
awesome.
and Recreation and just a ton of other things. They started improv classes, and basically, you know, I and several friends, we were part of the like third class that they had taught. So it was very, very early on in the process. And it was an amazing experience because, I mean, like, you know, you may not know some of these names, but like Rob Corddry, Rob Riggle, there's all these Robs. Who else? Paul Scheer. I mean, maybe you don't recognize these names, but if you saw their faces, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've seen those guys in a million movies." These are basically like some of the most like for instance, Rob Corddry. Have you seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he's the like the loser guy who tries to kill himself and loves Motley Crue in Hot Tub Time Machine. And he was on The Daily Show. Tons of cast members of The Daily Show. So anyway, I went. I took classes there, and I would perform there regularly. And it caught on pretty big. Like it became like a real hotspot in New York because there was just so much talent there. I mean, I'm really only scratching the surface of like you know, there's so many names, so many people who came out of there. Who would perform there, like everyone from Zach Galifianakis sometimes would be there. You know, I mean, just name a like popular comedian right now, and probably they at least went through for a short period of time. And I was
at one point, New York was like the hottest comedy scene at one point.
What's that?
I said at one point, New York City was like the hottest comedy scene. But now I think it's moved out toward more LA now.
Yeah. Well, what happened is really like, honestly, the majority of the people from UCB moved out to LA. There's a UCB LA out there right now. And well, I would say that a really good portion of the comedy scene that is that you know, like the kind of like what they call like the underground comedy scene. It's not really the underground comedy scene, but it's just not. It's like not Jeff Dunham and shit like that, you know. Like real stand-up comics. A lot of those people started in New York. Eugene Merman. I mean, like Nick. What's his last name? He had his own show, and actually. Well, I had a sketch comedy show called Mr. Ass with a few guys, and one of the guys was on, I don't know if you're familiar with Eagle Heart, but that's a pretty hilarious show on Adult Swim. And I also there was this guy John Daly. John Daly, it was the co-writer of the Nick. Why can't I remember his last name? He's an extremely popular comedian right now. I'm just I'm super underslept, so I'm forgetting it right now. What?
I'm hearing myself again. Does he go on Joe Rogan?
He might go on Joe Rogan. He might. There's a good chance that he's been. I'm not talking about Nick DiPaolo.
Okay.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna look it up because it's bothering me, and I should know because I know this guy.
You're
although I haven't
friend.
Nick Kroll.
Okay, I know who that is. Yeah.
He was a co-writer and performer on that show. Brett is actually like, did you know about $1 Million Extreme? $1 Million Extreme was like this show that was briefly on Adult Swim that was hosted by this dude who was kind of alt-right and really like, I think his name is Sam Hyde. And the dude, like, legit, like, it's hard to tell because he's a comedian. It's hard to tell kind of like what he really thinks and what is him like trolling. But he seems like he like legit like does not like Jews and seems legit racist. And for some reason, but I mean, I guess they didn't know everything about him. The network gave him a like a show, and Brett was semi-responsible for getting the show taken off the air, because he just, you know, he was just like, guys, I'm not going to work on this network if you like employ this dude. So yeah, I came out of that scene, and I kind of I was doing stand-up comedy for a while, and you know, with all those guys, and was having a pretty good time of it. And to tell you the truth, this is kind of an awkward thing to just bring up, but I have this sort of and I won't go too in depth about it, but I kind of have this this condition that this is not you know, like a super awesome thing, but I have a severe sleep problem, and it's when people hear that, they kind of assume that it's just something along the lines of insomnia. No, I actually have like sometimes like seizures and stuff as I'm trying to sleep, and it's something that's been going on for about 10 years. And truthfully, that took me out of the comedy scene. I kind of you know, I have like a really weird kind of connection to sleep. Like I don't do much of it, and so basically I kind of retired from doing professional like stand-up and whatnot. Although I will say that like recently, fortunately, I've, you know, like I've seen so many doctors about this, and it's something that they haven't really been able to like get a handle on. And recently, fortunately, I've been able to kind of take medication that I wouldn't say that it's cured it completely, but it's like 10 times better. Like most people would not be satisfied with the amount of sleep that I get. Yeah. But compared to the way that it used to be, it's like night and day. Like it's a trip to Disneyland in comparison. So as a result, I'm probably going to be moving back out to LA within like the next like 6 to 7 months. And when I do, I'm going to be getting back into that whole scene. I've actually recently started getting in, like Rob Corddry is going to be a guest on Creationist Cat Chat next month, and I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I did. Oh, I'm hearing myself again.
For me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's cool. Well, it's just fucking me up when I talk. Red Eye, do you have any questions? Or
I've just some of the cool vids that what's one of your favorite CC vids that you've done?
Oh, okay.
You know, it's funny because a lot of haters talk about how you know, like haters are just, of course, good. Haters gonna hate. Yeah. But I actually, like, to tell you the truth, my like, you know, one thing that people commonly say is like, oh, CC's been the same for you know, for 8 years or however fucking long we've been on YouTube. It hasn't been quite that long, but my favorite stuff is mostly within the past year or two. I am really proud of that episode of Creationist Cat Chat. There are several, actually. Creationist Cat Chat in general is one of my favorite segments. Mm-hmm. And I really love what we did a two-parter with Max Landis, who is a Hollywood screenwriter and well-known director, and I really enjoyed that one. There recently we did an episode on Jordan Peterson and something that he did on PragerU. and we talk a lot about PragerU's funding and kind of we get into this whole kind of a lot of people don't know about this, but PragerU is basically funded by these or chiefly funded by these brothers who are young earth creationists who are billionaires from fracking. And these dudes, like, they literally think that homosexuality should be an offense that's punishable by like, I don't think death, but I think that they think you should get jail time for sodomy, for male on male sodomy. And they believe that the Bible should be taught in schools and stuff like that. So a lot of people don't really realize what PragerU really is and all these agendas that they have. So we ended up talking more like less about the crazy shit that Jordan Peterson was saying in that video, and he said a lot of crazy shit in my opinion. But we go into all of that, and I really like that video. I'm actually going to be pretty soon. I'm trying. That's one reason why, if you see behind me, you'll notice that entire wall is green.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's basically like my new green screen. I recently this room is kind of it's kind of painted like Google. Yeah. You know, like each wall is a different color. Anyway, my point is that I'm gonna start doing videos of my own on the channel. You know, it will be probably sort of like a joint channel shared between CC and I, and I'm looking forward to doing that because, you know, I think that there are some people that I can reach with videos that where I and basically like the videos that I would do would basically I think it will still have that CC sensibility, but sort of mixed with, I don't know if you're familiar with H Bomber Guy. I happen to think he's a pretty good YouTube content creator. He makes long forms videos where he talks about certain topics and takes the piss out of people like Sargon and Stephen Molyneux and Paul Joseph Watson. Stuff like that. So it'll be a little bit more fact-based, but still kind of have a lot of visual like inventiveness and like, you know, and just out there humor. Probably have like elements of John Oliver too, just because I'm a big fan of that guy. Like I just think he's pretty amazing, and he's got like just a really great shtick, and maybe you know, I'm trying to think if there's
Will you be masturbating?
Those three things mixed together.
Will there be any masturbation videos?
Plenty of masturbation videos. I mean, you won't like, believe me, if that's what you're tuning in for, you will not be at all let down.
Okay, well, that's what I'm tuning in for with everybody. I expect everybody to masturbate on YouTube.
Yeah,
and tell pedophile jokes. That's just a whole thing we talked about yesterday. I did a tweet last night. Said
that Shad Base guy. Was that what you were doing?
No, I was referring to the whole gun thing.
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy director.
Oh, right. Oh,
I made a tweet yesterday where I said, if I ever get super famous, I'm just gonna go ahead right now and say I have never made any jokes about pedophilia, bestiality, or what was it? I forgot, or something. And then I made a joke about having sex with dead raccoons.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because this morning I woke up to like I was checking my Twitter, and I realized that these how's my mic right now?
It's all right now.
It's good. It's good.
Okay, so I basically woke up to like some like crazy Christian assholes trying to like pull a Cernovich on me. And you know what I mean when I say a Cernovich, right? You know that
Yep.
Mike Cernovich is the guy who was responsible for. I mean, I think James Gunn will probably get his job back. I think that the same thing because he did the same thing to this dude Sam Cedar, who is like a like sort of a left wing news pundit he has his own YouTube channel, and he's affiliated with the TYT network, but he really does his own thing. He doesn't really work for TYT. He's sort of like Kyle Kalinske is part of the TYT network, but he's not like really on TYT. And anyway, he sometimes is on MSNBC, and MSNBC fired him for the same reason, because he made like a tweet which sort of sounded like he was condoning pedophilia, but what he was really doing was that he was making fun and kind of condemning Roman Polanski, the director. And so this asshole, this fucking con artist, you know, like piece of shit. That's really how I look at someone like Cernovich. I mean, that guy, like he was one of the architects of Pizzagate and stuff like that. Just a total, you know, just like really like. I don't think he believes this stuff. I think he totally knows that he's full of shit.
Oh, he's a dipshit.
Lying. What?
He's a dipshit for sure.
Yeah. So basically, I woke up to these guys like kind of trying to do a low rent Cernovich on me, because of the fact that like they made a video about that Shad Bass guy who I just mentioned. You know who Shad Bass is, right?
Yes.
And Shad Bass is, for those who don't know, is this dude who does crazy art, and he's very talented, and he's very popular on Twitter. But he also makes really fucked up imagery. And when I followed him, like basically somebody like wrote me and was like, "Hey, dude, Shad Bass follows you," and I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" And they were like, "He's really big. You should follow him back." So I followed him back, and I never like really looked at his page. And then about like a year ago, somebody like wrote me and was like, "Hey man, why do you follow that Shad Bass guy? Like he's really fucked up." And I looked at his page, and he does all these drawings of like nude little girls and nude boys and shit. And you know, he claims that he is not like a pedo and whatnot. And I was like, well, that's pretty fucked up. I didn't know that. And I probably should have unfollowed the dude at that point, because you know, that's not really my cup of tea. Yeah. But I kind of just thought like to myself, I didn't really think about it that much. And then recently, again, I had about like a week ago, somebody write me and ask me like why I follow the dude, and they showed me something that I thought was really disturbing, which was there, like I think on Discord, he posted a picture of a girl that like an actual like 7-year-old girl, and said like, "Lol, I love like Mexi pedo porn," or something like that. And and this girl was, I guess, like Mexican or something. And he like took this picture of this clothed girl, and he made a version of her that was nude. And I was just like, oh, fuck this, you know, like that to me, that was just like, I was grossed out, you know, and like I was like, okay, maybe this guy legit is a fucking pedo. And so I unfollowed him on both accounts. And you know, this is something that potentially maybe I don't know. I share a lot, you know, but like I wouldn't, you know, I also follow people like Richard Spencer and shit like that, you know, like there are pieces of shit that I follow. So I kind of like, you know, when I didn't unfollow him at first because I was just like, okay, this is Twitter, you know, like people follow all kinds of weirdos, and yeah, and I just didn't think of him, but then I thought about it, and it's like, you know, even if the guy is not like a pedo, and he's just like a weird dude who, you know, just an eccentric artist who draws this like crazy shit, still putting stuff out there that some people who get off on that sort of thing, like, you know, enjoy. So yeah, I don't really want to kind of be associated with that. Like, you know, it is kind of fucked up. I mean, there is a like a legit, like I'm pro freedom of speech, but there is like a decent argument for, I don't know, like either like getting him to like removing his Twitter page, or like getting the guy to stop post that shit, because I don't know.
I follow him. I know him. He's been on DP before. He's a nice guy. I didn't know about now the art. As far as the art, I'm okay with it, except the part you just mentioned. We talked about if he took a picture of an actual little girl and then drew a picture of her naked, that is a little disturbing, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. I mean, like on one hand, it's fucked up because it's hard to think that he was not like fantasizing about the girl. But even let's you know, give the, you know, steelman him and say that like he just, you know, was using her as a reference, and it's still like that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to do to a little girl. Like, she didn't consent to that. The parents didn't consent to that. He just happened to like find this picture, and it's pretty fucking exploitive, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I can't disagree with that. Like I said, I've talked to the guy before. I know he follows me and stuff and all that, but yeah, I can't. I mean, yeah, if he's doing that, that is creepy. That's creepy.
Yeah, there's just something fucked up there. So yeah, I woke up and those guys had like they basically like tweeted to, I don't know why, Stephen Molyneux, saying like and they had a tweet that said like that I and Lacey Green, and who else did they include in it? Nate Talks to You, and a few other people, like, you know, people who were semi-famous to famous YouTubers followed this guy, and they tried to alert Stephen Molyneux, and it wasn't Cernovich, it was somebody else who is just like a right-wing asshole. Like, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be Cernoviched at some point in the future, but somehow I doubt it, because
he's a pretty popular guy. Shad, I'm talking about. He's a pretty popular guy.
Yeah, I guess he is. I never really paid. I had not known who he was. I had never really paid attention. Like I looked at when people told me that he was you know, like a crazy artist. I looked at his page like once and saw some cool stuff. That there was no lolly porn that like I really only looked at like, I don't know, 5 or 6 pics, and you know, not everything that he does involved that shit. And it wasn't, you know, like I said, it wasn't until about like, I think a year ago, when a friend of mine wrote me and was like, hey, I noticed you follow this guy. Like, why do you follow him? There's some people who I don't know, like I agree with you that like you followed him. So like, obviously, like, you didn't think he was you know, like genuinely bad news, but like I can see how just an eccentric artist would draw fucked up stuff and not necessarily actually, like, you know, like he also draws weirdos with swastikas, and I really don't think the dude's a Nazi, you know? Like,
no, he's very out there, and he's edgy. He's an edgy artist. And I think that's what he goes for. I don't think he's a Nazi. I don't think he's actually a pedophile. But if he's taking, the only thing I say, if he's taking a photo of an actual little child, and then drawing a picture of that actual child naked, it's just a little creepy.
Yeah. But
so I just want to get this straight. So it's an actual photo of someone's flesh and blood child.
Yes.
That he's taken and edited and sexualized. Or made, sorry, I'll rephrase it, and at least made her naked.
Yes, in a drawing.
All right. So a naked depiction of a child.
He basically like it's the same exact face, and I mean, I don't really want to describe it.
Fair enough. I'll get the general idea.
Yeah, and I'm one that actually will stand up for artists who even draw pictures of children. If it's fantasy, even though I don't like it, I will still say, well, they can. But now, if you're going to take a picture of an actual child, a human child, and draw it, I'm not saying it's pedophilia. I'm just saying it's very creepy.
Yeah, because in Australia, for instance, there's laws about depicting children in certain ways. If it was, I have not seen the image, so I'm not passing judgment. I'm saying if it was a depiction and it was it's of sexual nature, and he was in an Australian state or territory, he would be sitting in a police station right now, or actually a local prison, awaiting fucking trial for that's against the fucking law here. If it was a sexualized image, if it was an arty portrait, but I don't know.
I haven't seen it. I'm just going by what
I can't pass judgment. Sexualized. I mean, like I'll just leave that to the imagination. I mean, it's not like she's engaging in a sexual act, but the picture itself, like it's not just like, I don't know, just like a drawing of a naked baby. It looks like it's meant to seem attractive to people. So
it's creepy. I mean, like I said,
it's fucking creepy.
It's creepy. I would never, I'm not gonna.
We've been talking about this a while now.
Uncomfortable.
Welcome to the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the internet.
He's got like over 300 and something thousand followers on Twitter.
People who follow him, and that's I mean that's mostly like why that's really the reason why I followed him, because he like followed me, and somebody was like, wow man, that Shad Base guy follows you. So who the fuck is that? And like on Twitter, if someone with a huge following follows you, you generally follow them back, because it's like considered, like a compliment to be followed by someone with a following that big.
Yeah.
It's definitely a subject that I don't want to talk about anymore. So la 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 la.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone said that pictures can be traumatized. I'm talking about it's just creepy.
That was pretty cool.
I'm going back to what Brian said. Brian said, yeah, creepy perhaps, but I'm not going to get outraged by a drawing, not until it can be proved that pictures can be traumatized. Well, a picture can't be traumatized, but a child of a picture can be, the picture of a child, the child can actually be traumatized. But
again, the child did not consent to have to be the model of that picture. The parents did not, and there probably are some freaky fucked up people who, I'm not necessarily saying that it's Shad Base, but they're probably some fucked up people who fucking jerked it to that picture. I mean, I hate saying that out loud because this is gross to think about, but that's just, and that's the problem with him making images like that is not necessarily that he might be like a pedo, but he's definitely creating art that like satisfies those who are, and it's just kind of, I don't know, I'm all for like people making like edgy, crazy shit, but
you're not, Brian.
That is, I don't know, that's a step too far. When
I'll say one more thing about it. You're not going to be able to control it, and I don't want to control it. That's why I said it a bit ago that I don't have I've actually said this in the past that people who do fantasy art of children having sex and stuff like that, I don't like it. I don't want to watch it, but I'm not going to try to stop somebody from doing it. The only thing that bothers me is if it's a drawing of an actual, like if somebody takes a picture of a child and then does the same picture but makes the child naked in a sexual way. I'm not saying we should stop that either. I'm just saying that it's just fucking creepy.
Yeah, and he's two other things.
I mean, like, like if you took pictures of Macaulay Culkin when he was in Home Alone and shit,
but it was hot though.
I actually knew Macaulay. I went to school with Macaulay Culkin, so
Macaulay Culkin.
His father was fucking nuts. His father was like, his mother kind of was too, but it's no surprise that he's kind of like turned out the way that he has.
A lot of showbiz parents are nuts, though, right?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's really like a stereotype, which is often correct. That because I went to this school called Professional Children's School, and you had I mean, like the majority of the Cosby kids went there. Speaking of, I don't know, uncomfortable sexual stuff, the Cosby kids went there. Who else went there? Christopher. I mean, he obviously not when I was there, but Christopher Walken went there. Uma Thurman went there. Christian Slater went there. Yo-Yo Ma. I don't know if you know who that is, but like one of the world's foremost cello players. It was basically a school for people who sometimes have professional schedules. So you'd have everyone from like successful ballerinas to Macaulay Culkin, and Sarah Michelle Gellar went there. She would always wear this stupid sailor's hat. And and what's her name? From the Sharknado movies. Tara Reid went there. Oh my God, Tara Reid is probably, out of all of the famous people, the people I know who have made it, she's just like the one that I'm just like, wow, that girl. Because I mean, she could be a really nice girl, but she was just a Jersey airhead, like basically like put you used half a can of Aquanet in her hair every day. And I don't know, I don't want to dump on her too much, but just not the brightest bulb in the box.
Neither is Red Eye.
Yeah.
And he uses a lot of hair. Red Eye, he uses a lot of hairspray, and he's not the brightest bulb either.
Oh, I just want to touch on this subject before about everyone's going, oh, it's just a picture. Well, there's 3 people that will be directly hurt by this thing without a shadow of a doubt. If the girl comes across the fucking edited version of that photo, she's not going to be too fucking happy. If her mum comes across that edited version of that photo, she'll be on the warpath. And if the dad's got any parental sort of notion, he'll be getting his shotgun and going looking for fucking Shadman to blow his fucking head off. That'd be me. That would be my reaction if I was the father of that child. It's like, who the fuck is this guy and where does he live? That's just me, though. So there's 3 people that would be directly hurt by this very instance of him doing what he did. That's just an example. Yeah. Again, I'm not condoning. I'm not condemning.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the image. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. There's 3 people that would definitely be affected.
I mean, I think that's just fucked up and disrespectful of someone's child, And
oh, hell yeah.
So I'm not cool with it. That's why.
I just want to address Brian real quick. Don't take me literally. That was a figure of speech. But if I was the father of that child, there would be an ass whipping on the cards for at least, and a fucking court case. If I was the father of that child, fuck yeah, a fucking good ass whipping at least. That's just me though. That's what I'd do if my kid ended up in that situation and I found the artist. It would be out the back of the pub.
I could be wrong, but I think that the picture that he took was one of the children who were obtained by ICE. You know, recently, you know how they have like a whole shitload of kids that have been separated from their parents, and so that's even more exploitive because it's sort of like maybe he did it because he knew he could get away with it, that there would be no way for the parents that they'd be extremely unlikely to find it, and like, you know, if even if they did, they wouldn't be in a position to like prosecute him for or you know to get him in trouble basically. So yeah, I hadn't even thought about that aspect of it. That's even worse. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's kind of like preying on someone who just has no.
Well, we're gonna move on from that.
Yeah,
yeah, and I just want to. I did slip. I didn't mean analogy. It's fucking 2 o'clock in the morning here. I just meant it's just a term of, you know, I was just trying to.
You're speaking as an individual too.
No, well, here's the thing. I know several fathers that have had kids that have been interfered with, and they would quite happily choke the fucking life out of the person that interfered with their kid without batting an eyelid, and they would not use a gun. They would use their bare fucking hands to do so. So all I'm saying is you don't underestimate the anger of a father that's had their child messed with. And I'm just saying, if it's an example of worst case scenario, as a father could see that and just go, and he could be a crazy motherfucker.
And you also, also in Red's defense, Red's a lot like me. We speak in hyperbole a lot too. So,
yeah, absolutely. I am not of the opinion that man should be executed again. Yeah. He's an artist. I haven't seen the fail. If I didn't make myself clear, I'm just saying, if the father of that child reacted very badly, it could go fucking pear-shaped real quick, because that's the father of a little girl. That's the point I was trying to make. And also,
individual. It's an individual thing. Like, okay, that's like, I don't support the death penalty, right? But if somebody killed my mom and I got a hold of them, I'd probably kill them. Yeah. And even though I don't support the death penalty, I'm an individual. And I want my nation to be better than the individual, right? So, I mean, that's a little different. When you say I would kill somebody if they fuck with my child, and then, you know, it's a little different. You're speaking as an individual. I hope that made sense.
Apparently I'm triggered. No. I fumbled my words.
The subject like 5 hours ago.
Let's hit the eject button and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we're gonna move on. We're moving on.
I have this like nightmare scenario in my head that no matter what we bring up, it's gonna come back to child pornography.
It happens.
It's all right. The demonetization fairy's already visited tonight.
Yeah. So here's my next question for you, Vadim. What is your worst moment on the internet?
My worst moment on the internet.
Your individual worst moment.
I mean, what do you mean? Like
the most something you did, something you may have said that you fucking wished you didn't say.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. I'll admit to this. Okay, this is the dumbest thing that I've ever said. Okay, and I regret this. You know, again, I share a lot. So some people wouldn't admit to this, but I basically like I was in an interview that like -3 people were watching on thankfully on YouTube. So, you know, someone like a CC fan asked me to do it, and it was like it was literally within the first week that the term alt-right that I had heard of it, and like, you know, it was right at the beginning of the time that that term was being used. And I typically have a like policy that like if I don't know what I'm talking about, like if I have no expertise whatsoever or no familiarity with it, I tend just to kind of say like, well, I really don't know much about that, so I don't really want to kind of like try and talk about it. But for some reason, this person asked me, so what do you think of the alt-right? Do you think that they're actually racist? And for some dumbass reason, I just decided that like I would go on and talk about it, and I said something to the effect of, "Oh no, I think that's a misconception that they're racist." And I said like, you know, they're really like I don't know why the fuck I did that. I think it was just like, I don't know. It's just one, you know, every now and then we're all like kind of subject to kind of going Dunning-Kruger and you know, kind of displaying the Dunning-Kruger effect. And that was like, I mean, I was very incredibly wrong about that.
Wait a minute, you was wrong about what exactly? What? You was wrong that you was wrong that it was a misconception that alt-righters are racist.
I would believe so. I mean, they're racist. They're
all of them.
I would say the vast majority of them. I mean, like the thing is that like if you are not racist or if you're not like fucking you know, anti-Semitic, then why would you want to associate yourself with that group? Like what's in it for you? It's sort of like there are other groups that don't embrace that shit, that like, you know, find another fucking group. Like if you're just into, I don't know, Donald Trump and you feel like you know, immigration is a problem, you can just be a conventional Republican. But if you're kind of like embracing the group, you know, that like somebody like Richard Spencer and folks like that kind of speak for, yeah, I think you're at the very least you're okay with it. You condone it. You put up with it. And so I mean, like maybe they're not necessarily like virulent racists, yeah, but I think they probably, the majority of them, look down on other races, and that I mean that's racist in itself. So okay. I don't know. I mean, okay. do you disagree? Do you?
I do. I think it's I think it's taking. I think that's a mighty big brushstroke to just paint every one of them racist. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying.
I mean, this is like their most notorious get-togethers. They chant things like "Jews will not replace us." And
but not all of them chant that, right?
Nazi epithets like blood and soil, you know. I mean, and those are kind of like the most emblematic displays that like they're their most notorious displays. So it's sort of like, you know, you know the baggage, you know what is attached to all of that. So it's sort of like if you don't sign up for that, then get the fuck out of the group. It's like why would you want to associate yourself with a group that has a very strong like aspect of it that what I mean, what do you think like the people are like who are not racist, who like why are they in the alt-right if they're not kind of attracted to like either anti-Semitism or racism of some sort?
Look, I don't know enough of them to say. I'm gonna be honest. That's why I said this at the beginning, that I just find it hard to play any group like Black Lives Matter. I think a lot of them are racist. I don't think they're all racist.
Black Lives Matter is a much. Some of them are. I won't like, you know, like some of them certainly are, yeah. But that's a much different thing. I mean, like white people are welcome at Black Lives Matter marches, you know, like maybe there are going to be some people who happen to be there who aren't cool with that, but it's not like you're not going to have like I did not see any black people chanting blood and soil at Charlottesville, you know. I did not see any, you know, Godzi Kodzo was not there with them, although, you know, I mean, perhaps he's just as bad as they are.
He is.
But you know, like at the end of the day, like it's not an inherently racist group by any means. Whereas like the alt-right is kind of like founded specifically on like the superiority of white identity and things of that nature. And they also kind of just, you know, believe all sorts of kind of debunked pseudoscience having to do with race and IQ and
a lot of them
like that. What?
There's a lot of them that are very stupid, but I've seen a few. I can't remember.
I mean, I'm not even saying that some of them aren't smart. Like Richard Spencer is a genuinely smart guy, even though that I think he's pretty reprehensible. Yeah. I would not say that man is by any means an idiot. He's very well read, and you know, I mean, I have to admit that he, in his whatchamacallit, his debate on Andy Worski Live, he kind of, I mean, like he really didn't have really great opposition to like I think Sargon really kind of bit the big one in that, and then also that what's his name, Sticks and Hammer 666, that dude, like none of them challenged the dude. Then, you know, funny enough, you know who David Sherrod is? He goes by Alternative Facts these days. He used to go by Spinosauruskin or something like that. He debated about like 2 or 3 days later Richard Spencer on Baked Alaska's channel. Baked Alaska is also sort of no, he is alt-right. And David kicked his ass. Like, it was really amazing to see, because David is very bright, you know. But he's only like 21 years old, and he looks even younger, frankly. And so it was interesting to see, like, you know, especially after just that, because that was a shit show. I don't know if you guys watched it, that interview with him, and like Sargon just fucking face planted in that. So after seeing that occur, and the alt-right was just, they were so enthused by that, they looked at that as like a huge victory, kind of you know, making Sargon look like an idiot in the, you know, and then also that there was, I think that it was at a certain point the most viewed live stream that was going on at that time. So that was a big deal for the Worski channel. But anyway, I don't want to over talk it. I don't know where I'm going with this. Sorry, I'm a little tired right now. Maybe I should continue caffeinating myself.
Yeah, more caffeine.
More caffeine. No, the only thing I'll say. Oh, I'm hearing myself again. The only thing I'm going to say is that I think that a lot of people, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think a lot of people moved toward the alt-right and the right because they're getting tired of being, oh, you're not left enough because you happen to agree with one thing Peterson says or someone with a different opinion. The left is very, very strong about telling you what to believe and what you can or cannot.
Well, I'm not going to deny that there is a fringe element of the left out there that can be, you know, like, that shoots itself in the foot. That could be really fucking annoying sometimes. I mean, I've even, you know, even though that I'm like considered by, you know, things have swung so far to the right that, like, you know, what was once centered now seems like, and I'm not a centrist by any stretch, but you know, like even like centrists from like 10 years ago would seem pretty like left wing these days, from a lot of people's point of view, you know. So like basically, even though that I will admit that there are people like that out there that give the left a bad name, I totally disagree with you that that's like it's not like I think that if you were if you joined the alt-right because some like I don't know left-wing idiot like called you a name that you didn't like, called you a racist or something when you weren't, like, look, if you became a racist because somebody called, no, that doesn't happen. Like people like, you have to have a genuine, you have to have that in you before you like join a group like that is so, I mean, like they genuinely, like they when like they have their like rallies and stuff like that. Numerous times they have done things like, you know, they emulate like certain clan like they'll you know those tiki torches that they used that evening, that was a deliberate choice, you know, like that was a you know that was a thing that Ku Klux Klan members typically would use and stuff like that. So it's very like they are trying to like dog whistle certain things, and I don't think that someone joins a group like that purely because they like felt insulted, you know. I like, yeah. I mean, like don't get me wrong, maybe there are people out there who have become more like a little more right wing because there's all this like anti SJW messaging out there, and kind of like, you know, there's just a lot of people in general in the media and on YouTube and whatnot who identify as either like centrist or right wing these days, but I don't think that they're being driven to it because, I don't know, like some like Black Lives Matter, like somebody like just hurt their feelings one day, you know, like there has to be more under the surface than just that, you know, like people aren't, you know, like you have to be like such a huge snowflake to go from like being like genuinely left wing to like, okay, I'm going to join the modern version of the KKK now. You know,
funnily enough, I've heard this interview. It was several months back, and it was from one of the leaders of the white supremacist groups, and he was talking about, it was just after the election. He was talking about Hillary Clinton, Black Lives Matter, and all that, and he said this interesting phenomenon's had over the last 2 years has happened on social media, and it was all of the Black Lives Matter and the extreme elements of that movement. I've seen the videos where there's ladies running around saying, kill all the fucking white babies, and then the other ones, kill all the cops. And I've seen multiple instances of that from the very extreme elements of, I'm not trying to generalize, this is a very tiny minority of people, but they are very vocal on social media, and that shit gets shared a lot. And this white supremacist, but check out what this white guy said. He said, I thank them for all of that, because you know what they've done? They've pushed a bunch of people that were sitting in the center that had no real identity. They feel alienated from the society that they're living in, and they've pushed them into our arms, and we thank them. Please continue to do what you're doing because you are making our ranks swell. That's what these guys are saying about social media.
What we have, though, is that we have a climate right now where, you know, I mean, just at a certain point on YouTube, and I don't really think that it was an accident. I think that, you know, there was actually a really good article, and I'm going to mention what it was in, and it's going to immediately solicit groans, but it was in BuzzFeed, and what a lot of people But this is the thing. A lot of people don't realize this, that the journalism wing of BuzzFeed is completely separate from that, like, you know, wing of BuzzFeed that creates like pop feminism videos. And I like, no, I have friends who identify as you know, like as feminists. I don't know a single one that likes any of those BuzzFeed videos. By the way, like they're not popular with actual feminists. By the way, but the journalism wing of BuzzFeed is a completely separate entity. I mean, like, they're owned by the same people, and it's like kind of like a subdivision, but it's not the same people who are making that. And they actually do, like they've written some really excellent articles. They do good journalism. They've been given like prestigious awards and shit like that. So you guys can look into that yourselves. I know people are going to be naturally skeptical of that claim, just because there's rightfully like those videos that just made you groan. Those are genuinely annoying. But anyhow, my point is there was an article that was all about Milo Yiannopoulos and how during the Trump candidacy, as he was campaigning, he was in constant contact with people like Richard Spencer, several people within the alt-right. And you get they showed like a lot of the actual emails and whatnot, and you get the impression that Milo, or I don't know, it depends. Like maybe you'd think differently, but my impression was that like Milo was just using these people, just realized, okay, we can really kind of exploit this group and kind of use their kind of vigor and their memeing to help us win the election. And yeah, so my point is that there was a very sharp shift within the YouTube sphere that went like from being kind of just like slightly kind of skeptical of and sometimes properly so of certain feminist claims and whatnot, to like unabashed, just like hating on like full on hating feminists 24/7, and any like just it became incredibly anti-SJW. And I think that sort of atmosphere created, I mean, there's so many reasons why Hillary lost. Part of the reason why she lost was that she wasn't a great candidate. And then also what happened with the DNC. And then a lot of people also just, you know, wanted Bernie and were kind of pissed that they weren't able to get Bernie. So there were all these factors that led to us getting the dumpster fire that is Donald Trump. But I really do think that a part of what has kind of pushed things to the right is this kind of like I mean, and people are still doing it, and to me it's insane, because there's so much great fodder. Like if you want to make entertaining, hilarious videos, there's no shortage of like cringe shit going on with the fucking Trump administration, and people are still kind of making videos about like, I don't know, just like cringe videos about certain feminists and whatnot. And it's just like, I don't get it. It's like, no, I mean, I do get it, because that's like what they started making money with. But it's just like we have like a president who's about to possibly like pick a he's definitely going to pick a Supreme Court judge that is going to kind of fuck things up for generations in numerous ways. And I don't know, I could go on for like a while about this, but I think that that's more kind of really what has pushed people to the right, is they take certain things and they take a fringe group and they make it seem much larger than it actually is. They take certain people who say, I mean, like often incidents out of context. They don't always present. I mean, sometimes these situations are like really shitty. Like for instance, that girl who shamed that white guy with dreads and told him that like he was what's the term?
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, exactly. like that. Like every now and then, there like some of these people are really like truly out of line and whatnot. Like when that girl kicked Bernie off the stage so that she could kind of like bitch for a while. That was dumb as hell. But generally, like, they what they have done successfully is I think that they kind of made this false equivalency between the fringe left and like our left-wing politicians. And don't get me wrong, there's tons of corruption in the left-wing party right now, but it's certainly not on the level of like what's going on with the Republicans. So basically, they successfully equated SJWs with like conventional politicians, and so a lot of people are now voting right wing against their best interests. And I really believe, unless you want to lose the right to abortions in several states, unless like I don't know what other policies, unless you like want like your taxes to go up over, because that's what the supposed tax cut is going to do over 10 years. I mean, any like nonpartisan group that has analyzed the tax cuts has shown that over several years it's going to raise the taxes on lower and middle class, and we might lose fucking healthcare as well, which like a lot of people rely on. So I don't know. I could go on for a while about this. People are going to start feeling like I'm getting a little like on a soapbox about it, but
we got to end the show here in just a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
So,
question time.
Well, yeah, we'll take a couple questions. I wanted to let everybody know that my channel was supposed to be back. Was it yesterday or today? And it ain't back yet. So there goes the figure. You know how YouTube is. My main channel. I'm still not able to stream on there yet. Maybe in the next couple of days. It's supposed to be back yesterday, I do believe. And so I don't know, it's crazy. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming over, Dean. You've been a good guest, even though you pissed me
Are
off.
we like done? Is this is it?
We're about to go. We're about to go. We got
Okay.
4 minutes.
Hour and a half. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. I usually go 2 hours, but I'm not feeling too well. So the last couple of days I've been in an hour and a half.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
tomorrow I'll go to the doctor.
So another time, because like I mean I just I think I told you I woke up at like 3:30 a.m. and I could not get back to sleep. So I'm just like like I like could probably articulate myself a little better on most days.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. I got tongue twisted before and ended up talking about blowing people's heads off when I should have articulated myself a bit better.
It's okay. But tomorrow there will not be a show because I have a doctor's appointment. Landon asked when's the last time photo of CC was taken.
I mean, CC has been kind kind of like I mean, I taken a picture of him probably about like 6 months ago. Like you know, he's getting up there and not as photogenic as he once was. So you know, we still use like that's why we use the same footage. Although I have some footage that I don't tend to use. He's kind of gotten a little like, you know, like cats do over the years. He's lost a little weight, and he just, you know, he's still like you know, alive, and I think he probably will be for at least another 3-4 years. But you know, just he's not as like fresh and
spring chicken.
You know, like he's getting up there. So you know, I stopped using footage of him like a little while ago.
Yeah, that's understandable.
CC vids are always a treat to see. So may he live long and prosper.
Yeah, the next one's going to be on the whole She-Ra controversy and
shit.
who really care that the new She-Ra is flat chested. So,
oh god, some of those new cartoons coming out lately. What was the other one with Lion-O and all that? That was like Thundercats. Yeah, Thundercats. Everyone lost their shit on Twitter about it. It was just the collective autism of the internet was unleashed all at once, and you could hear the in the next galaxy away. All the aliens went, oh shit, they've redrawn the Thundercats poorly apparently, and planet Earth's lost their shit.
I heard it's not that bad, but I mean, I suppose it just, you know, if that sort of animation style kind of just bothers you, then you're not going to like it. But people like the main problem that people had, and it's fucking She-Ra. She-Ra was horrible. Like, I've been watching some of it in order to to like, you know, just make this video, and you know, it looked cool. They had like this rotoscoped kind of style that was very 80s, and kind of Ralph Bakshi was doing shit like that at the time, and it looked cool. But just like the dialogue and the story is just like, it's fucking drivel, and people like, you know, their problems were like, I mean, there's this one guy, the Quartering, he made a video titled "Disgracing Beauty and Female Body Types." And you know, his whole thing is like, you know, it's like some SJW conspiracy to like, you know, to androgynize people, and I think fucking Sargon made a video about it as well, where he literally says, like, you know, this generation, they're just not going to procreate, and they're going to die off. So he's basically calling the She-Ra cartoon like an extinction level event, which is hilarious to me.
Well, anyway, shut up.
All right.
Love you, but you gotta shut the fuck up. I gotta end the show.
All right. A little more subtle about that.
I'm just fucking with you. But anyways, though, I do want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for coming on. It's been a great show. I've got to get out of here. I feel like shit.
Yeah.
I do. I am sick as a fucking dog over here. So I do thank everybody. And I'll see you. No, there will not be a show tomorrow. I've seen your question, Raising Girl. There will not be a show tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment. And so I'll see you guys Friday. Later.
On.